Welcome back to the BigFooty BigBrother podcast. I'm ODN, resurrected and ready to go as promised. He was about as impressed with the action in the house this week as a protein-deprived gym junkie forced to live off 2-minute noodles. Hey there, Phantom.
G'day, mate. How's it going?
Pretty good.
I do feel like a man that's just had to live on Maggi 2-minute noodles all week. The house did not suffice this week, mate. Not at all.
She's had a couple of drinks tonight, so is about as chilled as a nut job in an ice bath. Hi, Mrs. ODN.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, jeez.
Hi.
Did I say a couple? She was away last week, but the listeners insisted she return. Sounds like favouritising to me. Welcome back, Shell.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. It's good to be back. Can I just ask who insisted that I come back? Or was that just a load of crap?
That was a load of crap. That was a load of crap for the intro. You're just treading all over my taglines here. Look, we'll start first up with the eviction, as we always do, and we won't spend too much time on this because it was as predictable as can be. Marina's gone.
Marina.
There you go. Good call.
It was nice to be in the house, but I leave now. She didn't want to be there.
Come and see me at Dreamworld and have a football.
What was that, Phantom? Sounds like big trouble for Moose and Squirrel.
That was Marina just she's bailing out of my house now. She's leaving houses like it's going out of fashion. She was so dull. She was
Borina, mate. Borina.
She got a massive 3% of the save votes.
That is massive.
That's rough. That's almost as bad as when they made Gemma sit
I think they should have left it sleeping.
I just think, that if even a family had a cap on their texting.
Oh, that's a cut below the belt.
Yeah, well, Kazakhstani sheep herders aren't allowed to vote, so it's fine. Yeah, look, she really didn't do much in the house. And
she's not doing much out either.
No. And I really don't know where we go from there. Is anybody any observations? Want to say anything about Marina? Or she's gone, let's move on.
Yeah, did she wind up having an
Should have left her sleeping. Didn't? She did.
She did have an eviction message. And
Sandra didn't get one, but she did, so go figure.
Yeah, Sandra didn't. Yeah, I
Marina potted Trav as being the cause of all the flirtation and some of the dissension in the house.
See, that's what she needed to do before she got evicted. Then maybe we would have kept her, because that was weird. Trav and her flirting seemed like it was pretty harmless, except that baby Ash was losing her mind about it. And then they went into, obviously, they got sent in. When we get to the task, we'll talk about it. Sent into their quiet room, and Trav freaked out. Yeah, like he was locked in there with a sex offender. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I know.
It was
straight up lost his mind, Travie.
How pathetic is that for only knowing each other a few weeks in our Big Brother house? God's sake, get over it. Anyway,
Travie's irresistible and he knows it though. So
I'm sure that we're going to talk some more about Trav and Ash. So moving right along. Yes, intruders in the house. The Big Brother's so bored they had to bring in other people because the ones they had weren't working out for them.
God.
We have Richard, 25, and he's a banker.
I thought you were going to say a wanker. Sorry, I thought you were going to say a wanker.
Wow.
That's
Move
the
along.
joke.
Move along. That's the joke.
We had Penny.
Sorry.
Penny. She's 31 and she's a dancer and part-time psychopath. We have Lena. I don't know, on the BigFooty board.
I've got the whole list here, ODN.
Yeah, she is.
Lena.
She is a woman of many names. And look, I'm reading off Phantom's notes tonight. She's a diplomat. I did not know that.
I may have made that up, but
you did make it up, right?
She's definitely born in a different country and lives here and seems to be intelligent. Therefore, she's a political diplomat.
The
dots connect, mate. The dots connect.
So when she gets voted out, it's going to be diplomatic immunity. Good one. And Tom 25, who, reading off Phantom's notes, apparently does nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
He has red hair. No one cares. He doesn't even have a soul.
Oh, okay. So... So who do we like out of those bunch?
I like Luna Lovegood. She seems like she's going to be good value.
Yep.
I like Penny because she's straight up insane. And I don't mind Richard. He seems sneaky, and I like a sneaky person in the house. And he's clearly, how old do we reckon he is? He says he's 25. I'm going to go with 500 because he's clearly a vampire.
Vampire or a wizard?
One of the two, yes.
Yeah.
He's a wizarding vampire.
It's a
Dear
good
Lord.
mix he's going. I agree with you about Lilo and Stitch. She's good value, I think. And yeah, Tom's pretty much just a Travis understudy. Do you think?
A Travis wannabe.
He's just not as much fun as Trav, really. To be honest, I'm not really sold on any of them. Suzuki Liana probably seems like the best of the bunch. But beyond her, there's not a lot. There's not a lot. I like that Penny's quite happy to walk around and grab Sky's bum. That's about...
Penny wants to have sex with herself in a bath of ice.
With a zucchini.
Painfully, with a zucchini. A big, large zucchini.
We're off to a flying start this week, folks.
It is all happening.
She is an absolute psychopath.
Well, we got to talk about that a little bit more. The intruders have been given various tasks to try to win a soccer ball and win a nice surf and turf meal for the other housemates by depositing themselves into a ice bath up to their neck and having to stay in there for a minute or two, depending on how much fun Big Brother's having with it. Penny that's the strangest reaction I've ever seen anybody give to anything.
It was
Ever.
She was a hyena. She was painfully, exotically weird.
It was. Yeah.
It was. I don't have words for it.
I'm going to get creepy for a minute. There was something kind of arousing about it for me. I got a little bit turned on.
Okay, no. It was psychopathic, but what I meant by a sort of what was the word I used? The second word? Just said
exotic.
When I
erotic?
said exotic, I meant to say a bit kind of
erotic.
Maybe, but not much.
Yeah.
But very like she was doing something real painful under that ice. It was like pleasure and pain. It was like.
I thought.
Has anyone on the podcast jumped in an ice bath before?
No, have you?
No.
Yeah, I've done a few ice baths and.
What is it like?
Really, it's pretty cold.
Is it refreshing?
It is very refreshing. It's not nearly as extreme and uncomfortable as they were sort of making out. There was, I don't know. It was a bit playing up for the cameras. I think we'll put it down to that.
I'd say it was playing havoc with the silicon.
No, but it was kind of then when she no, but then when
she couldn't get him under.
No, but you know what made me laugh? It was kind of then when she orgasmed,
bland.
she started crying.
Yeah,
You know, finished it off like I'm going to cry now because it was so good.
You're dead right. If
it was weird.
If Penny was on the Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio never would have drowned.
I tell you what, I was very worried about her after I watched that. I was like, oh my God, I don't think she's stable enough to handle anything.
Big Brother went soft on them because he did quite clearly say they needed to be submerged to their neck, and they didn't get anywhere near their neck.
She didn't even get past the nipples.
No, I think she'd made it all the way to the.
Big Brother's soft though.
As well. Big Brother's been a lot softer this year. It's been a bit.
Big Brother should have given him like 2 prawns and a steak for that.
All right, and just on Penny at the end of their task, which we will talk about later. When the other housemates went in to tell her that it was over, they woke her up, and again, I don't think I've ever seen. That's probably the second creepiest reaction to something.
You call it creepy. I call it Halloweenish, freakish.
It's pretty bizarre. She looked like it was like she'd been woken up from an extremely deep sleep, and she just couldn't really get her bearings about it. But she had the big bug eyes, and she was freaking out.
It wasn't just a deep sleep. It was like something like, I think it was a demon.
You're right on this, aren't you?
No, she was a demon. There was like a demon coming out of her when she woke up.
I just think she was a vacant shell, and the brain hadn't engaged yet.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Bacon.
All right. that's enough of the newcomers.
We tore that one to shreds.
All the neighbours, now housemates, but we will talk about that as we go. We'll move along to the power and the passion.
The power and the passion.
So Ryan has the power this week. What sort of a job has he done?
He's been good. He's been really, really good. He had a great call the second he walked into the power room and sort of looked around and went, looks like I'm in the strippers. And then he's just grown into it from there. He's had a couple of little things to do. And obviously the biggest one was deciding the four from next door who they got to come in and replace. And he split the couples up.
Mm.
Yeah, that was great.
Now, is that? Would you agree with all those moves?
Yeah, absolutely. In that sort of an environment, especially, they are still playing a game for, well, to be fair, it's probably going to be $30 and a pack of chicken twisties by the time it's done. But
and a KFC meal deal.
And a KFC twister combo. But at this stage, you've still got to be trying to do things to win the game and progress your own position within the game. And splitting up the couples was the best way to do it. I think there was also an element of he was just getting a bit bored of watching Trav and Barbash macking on all the time, and Clausen macking on all the time, and now Leo and Sky macking on all the time. So rip that all apart, gets to meet some new people, and also progresses his own position in the game. Perfect move. But to be fair, I don't think it was a particularly, how would you say it, a brave move. It was probably what anyone in that situation would have done.
I was thinking, because we did get to have a little bit of a think about it before he actually chose the four housemates, but I thought the ones that he thought were the favourites to win would be the ones that he'd want to get out of sight for a little while and not give them much airtime this week. And to that end, Travis was a good call, but if he could have got Sky in there somehow, that might have helped a little bit. But I understand his reasoning for doing doing what he did, but that was the only one where I thought maybe he could have even been a little bit more strategic.
And it's a good point, because the four next door as they are now, so the original housemates that are across there, have been getting very little airtime. They're certainly not sort of getting the same pump up that they were before, and that might just be because they've got to split it between the two houses or whatever, but they don't have a proper diary room, so they're doing sort of weird diary room chats on the couch while everyone else has to sit outside. It's a totally different vibe in there, and I don't think any of them are really enjoying it all that much. Trav seems to have sort of taken it as well as he can, but Leo is absolutely hating it. I think Kat is really not getting much airtime at all over there, and Trav's just sort of looks like he's going a little bit insane, to be honest.
I was I sort of bought into your talking about Ryan as the head of the house. I bought into your observations about his dry wit and his comic timing a little bit more. I think we saw one of the earlier episodes this week when Marina was still in the house and she was having a bit of a cry with Priya, and Ryan was situated in between them, and he just subtly got up and said, "You two want to swap," and it was just the timing. I mean, obviously you have to watch it. If you didn't watch it, you won't know what I mean. But just the timing of it was absolutely perfect and quite hilarious.
It actually it broke the sort of tension that was there as well. Everyone had a bit of a chuckle about it. So he's done that a few times. He's been quite good. Mrs. ODN, you've come around to him this week.
Oh, yes. I really like him.
Flying the Ryan flag like the rest of us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, we'll just move on to a little bit of the passion side of things. How have the couples gone this week? I mean, I think probably the main ones... it's funny enough, after Clausen last week, I think it was the Travis and Ace show again this week, but for very different reasons. Not so much for the romantic side of things as the intensely jealous and weird side of things.
Ace is mad as a cut snake.
Mm.
She's proper crazy, that girl. I might be maybe painting the picture poorly for her here, but it seems as though she has been quite sort of on to Trav about being flirty and really, really making a big deal out of it. And now Trav's gotten to the point where he's almost got battered husband syndrome. He freaks out every time a girl looks at him sideways and thinks that she's having a crack at him. We saw him just totally break down in the comfort room this week when he had to go in there on his own with Marina. He sat down, had a big bowl of carbonara, had a drink, and then just went, "I've got to get out of here because she's going to think that we're having a wild, crazy orgy. I can't be in here, big brother, let me out." And seriously jeopardise the task for them just because he thinks that he's that irresistible. And I think it's just because Aish has given him that complex.
Well, yeah, I mean, should they be anywhere near that sort of stage after a few weeks in the? I mean, that's high school stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure. It's the really scary thing is that these two are sort of talking about trying to make a fist of it on the outside, and up until probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, I actually thought that I didn't think they'd last forever because nothing in Big Brother does, but I thought they'd probably make a fair fist of it outside. But looking at them now, the second that they start having to do the nightclub promo scene, or Trav has to go and interview or whatever, she's just going to freak out, and he's going to freak out as well. They're not going to handle it at all. So.
No.
It's bizarre. We talk about the sort of microcosm that you get put under being on Big Brother and constantly being in the spotlight. This is just sort of a really good typification of it, where everything's just been enhanced to this sort of nth degree, and they're just freaking out over nothing, both of them.
I note that Leo told Sky that Travis and Aish will not last on the outside. That he and Sky have got a better chance of pairing up.
He you know what, he might be right, but that's sort of the difference between 0% and 0.1%. Neither of those couples is going to last, so we're sort of, it's not going to matter either way.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Lena Colada has gone in there and tried to flirt actively with Travis just for a bit of fun.
To stir the pot a little bit, yeah, she has indeed. That's been good. Olna's really stirring things up in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's probably the best. She's probably the best of the newcomers, just because she's willing to get in there and do that. So Sky and Leo as a couple this week. Leo's pretty keen.
It's a really weird dynamic, that one. It's hard to read. Obviously, Trav and Aish are sort of crazy in love and just crazy in general. Leo and Sky seem to sort of, jump into each other's bed from time to time and seem to be really passionate from time to time, and then not really want to be anywhere near each other and really despise each other. And then Clawson seemed to have just gone totally cold. Obviously, Kat's been...
He want Lena.
Lawson wants... Yeah, Lawson might want a little bit of Looney Tunes. He certainly seems keen. But then again, so does Dave. So he's got some competition there.
Oh, well, that's something Big Brother hasn't had before. 2 guys and a girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of something else.
In an ice bath.
Anyway,
that probably seems more Penny's go, that.
Yeah, just quietly.
She would have Sky in the ice bath with her by the looks of things.
Yeah, well, do we class Penny and Sky? Should we talk about them?
I don't know, but Sky has a great bum.
There was certainly more action going on in the house between Penny and Sky than anybody else.
Yeah, she's got a great bum.
Sky and Penny do seem to... I don't know, I think Sky was kissing girls at the start of the show, wasn't she? When they were in the spa.
Yeah, of course she was.
Sky would love to have a bit of a pash with Penny, I reckon, which is a little bit weird because Sky always talks about how Penny's so much like her.
Yeah.
I think Sky looks at Penny and sees a brunette version of herself, but
that'd
really,
be okay
really
because
loves
Sky
her.
would like to kiss herself if she could.
She, no doubt about that.
Okay. Kat and Lawson did have a little bit of a session under the covers when they weren't supposed to be.
Idiots.
So yeah, but it didn't get them it didn't cost them a life in their task. So
but
all is good.
Big Brother literally went, I've got to be able to see your eyes at all time. 3.5 seconds later, Lawson and Kat are jumping under the sheets. And it seemed out of character because we haven't seen them, maybe it's the editing again, but we haven't really seen them be overly physical all the time with one another, so it seemed weird.
It's overt now, isn't it? And it seems we've missed out on a lot of that, but it is actually happening out in the open, apparently. And Lawson had a chat to Penny about his situation, while Kat was sitting there, about his outside situation. So that was interesting.
It was interesting to hear it from him because we've seen him talk in the diary room about it, but that's a really different thing to talking to someone else about it. If you sit there in the diary room, you're almost having an inner monologue, but just out loud. But to actually sit there and acknowledge it and take responsibility for it to someone else that can actually sit there and say things back to you was quite interesting to see him do it. It was actually, I kind of liked it. I still don't really agree with what he did, but I appreciate that he's at least saying, I'm sticking to my guns now.
Yeah, and it's the first time I heard him say that his girlfriend was the one that broke up with him just before he came in, and then they got back together. So I knew that heard that they'd broken up. But yeah, I mean, again, we're not privy to everything that happened in the situation, so maybe there's more than meets the eye. But the heat hasn't been on them this week. They've been fairly out of mind, out of sight, haven't they? As far as that goes, anyway. We might move along and go to Taken to Task. So the task this week was a sleep task, whereby no more than 4 podcast panelists can go to sleep at any one time.
Wake up!
Only 4 housemates could be asleep at the same time. If you close your eyes for more than 10 seconds, then that was classed as a snooze, and you lose a life. And they were on minimal lives. Find the task interesting, people?
I thought it was a belter of a task, to be honest. So I really enjoyed it. It just takes a little bit of tactics to sort of think your way through it. It was interesting because you normally see in that sort of a dynamic, someone would be a leader, would put their hand up and go, all right, we're going to have a roster. This is how it's going to work, and this is what we're going to do. No one did that. So they were a bit of a shambles, and it worked. They obviously, as we found out at the end, they passed. I think they actually only lost 1 life. I think Priya's life was the only one that they lost. There may have been another one that we didn't see, but it was just interesting because there's no leader in that house. There's no one that will sort of take responsibility and put their hand up and go, all right, this is how we're going to run it. This is what we're going to do. So, last year Tim was the clear sort of leader of the house, and then Ed was the beta male, always trying to sort of tag along and take ownership and run things, and no one wants to do it here. So. But and it was good. We obviously got to see them all operating under extreme sleep deprivation and all acting like absolute idiots, not being able to come up with words. They were talking about favouritis and favouritimal, and couldn't figure out that it's just talking about favouring someone. Not the most difficult word to come up with. So then we watched Ryan having a weird conversation with the dog when he was extremely sleep deprived as well. So it was good entertainment.
What would you guys do to stay awake in that situation?
I don't know. I'm not in that position right now.
If you were in the house, how would you stay awake? What would you use your creativity and come up with something that was going to keep you on your feet?
I'd probably make something out in the back.
I'm actually just scrolling through Shell's 31 things to do with a zucchini. Most of those would keep you awake.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah,
Good call there.
Shell hasn't slept in a week, apparently.
I'm blushing right about now. My answer to that was just to do some basic exercise, because exercise does keep you awake.
With zucchinis.
Also wears you out and makes you want to have a bit of a sleep once you muscle fatigue sets in.
We were sort of talking around.
But then you've got the ice baths. So.
The ice bath to snap you back out of it. We were talking around the boards about some strategies that you'd have. I sort of said, roll in 4-hour sleeping shifts and just keep it nice and fresh so that no one has to stay up for more than 4 hours at a time. Safe to say, I would agree with this, the one thing you wouldn't do would be go into the diary room, jump under a big cuddly pillow, have a hot chocolate and put your head down while someone was serenading you. What the hell was Priya thinking? That was so stupid.
No, because he wasn't the only one that did that. That was actually something they were made to do, sit there.
Yeah, they were forced to do that.
That was actually, it was Big Brother being
I disagree. I don't think they were forced to lie down, and I don't think anyone could force you to drink a hot chocolate. You can go in there, he can offer you the hot chocolate, but it would have been quite easy to go, no, I'm good. I'll just sit here and listen to your lullaby, but sit straight up and roll the doona down a little bit.
Have they got any drugs in their house? If you got some ice in there, like actual ice, that would keep you awake.
You know who the man to go to for that
would
be?
I'm trying to come up with ideas here.
Old Scratchy himself, Ryan. If anyone's going to know, it'll be Ryan.
I'm not sure I like where this is going.
Oh, dear Lord.
I did think to myself when Ryan came into the house when what's his name? Little Harry Potter came into the house and Ryan said, so how long have you been a vampire for? Straight away I thought if I was in what's his name, Richard's position, I would have turned around and gone, oh, well, I don't know, how long have you been a junkie for?
Yeah, because these guys actually would know. They wouldn't have been in lockdown the whole time. They'd actually would have known a little bit about these housemates. But you haven't seen them talk too much about what they knew about them beforehand.
Mrs.
No, they
ADN, do you know how long they're in lockdown for?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they are in lockdown for a matter of 2 weeks, which is 14 days for people that don't know what 2 weeks is. 14 days.
Can you break that down into hours as well?
Okay, so 24 hours in a day. No, I can't. Can't add up.
I've lost control. All right. Important thing is they passed the task. They got their whatever they got.
Yeah, they passed because Big Brother's a big softy now. Like, come on.
Yeah, get your act together, Big Brother.
Yeah, he's got to be tougher. I like the hardcore, tough Big Brother.
Yeah, I do too. I miss those days.
All right, let's move along to heroes and villains.
Heroes and villains.
Who are our heroes? Who are our villains this week? There was a little bit of tension in the
There's
house.
two heroes,
Who are the heroes?
Ryan and Travi.
You reckon?
Leo is a villain.
Oh, go on.
Sky
Bolin.
is a villain. Penny is a villain.
What?
Pony as a villain.
Yeah, you
Oh.
sound quite very New Zealand there.
You're getting a bit Kiwi on us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you hear that? What?
Odien's kidnapped baby Ash and got her on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why. No, so they're the villains.
Why?
Well, Leo is just like a sulky little mutt, and
Just needs his protein,
Sky
man.
is just a nasty little cretin, and Penny is a psychopathic sexual predator.
All right. Let's break it up a little bit into the main conflicts in the house this week. We did see
Stick with the top
Travis
topic.
have a go at Leo for talking about Travi and Marina flirting.
And the noodles.
It was in the kitchen. He came in there. Like, yeah, how did he go in, Phantom? How did he do it?
Had a Trav go in.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
So he rocked in there, swagging out, jumped up on the bench. He went, "Oi, Leo, right? Let's have a chat, bro." Trav went in there with the best of intentions for Trav, but I guess as we've seen a few times, he usually handles himself quite well in conflict. This time he just went about it all wrong, and Leo made him look like a total dickhead.
Yeah, Leo showed the benefit of having intelligence and put him firmly back, mate, saying, mate, I'm not the only one saying it. It wasn't me who came up with the concept. Pull your head in.
Exactly, and Leo was spot on the money there. He wound up looking like a bit of an idiot himself when he got swapped over to the other side of the house and basically threw his toys out of the pram and had a little tanty because he only got given some magic 2-minute noodles for dinner one night. And
It was great.
It's not enough protein for a 90-kilo Canadian man.
Oh my God, that is exactly the accent.
Travi actually pulled him off pretty well, I thought. I didn't know Travi had it in him.
Travi did a much better impression than I did. It was spot on, actually.
Yeah, it was.
I think Trav should probably try and talk like that all the time because anything would be an improvement on his current voice.
Good call. Well done. Yeah, absolutely. It was the whole sulky thing beforehand for Leo, and I think he was sulking pretty much from the time he got separated from Sky.
There were 3 villains this week for me, and the reason that they were villains was because they were just committing heinous crimes against the English language. You had Travi this week who, for the love of God, could not pronounce the word filthy. It was filthy. It was F's all over the place in that one. You had Priya, who I can't even remember what Priya said. It was something absolutely bizarre. I can't even remember it now. It was that bad.
Disrespectable?
Disrespectable for an English teacher. That is disrespectable. That's completely unrespectable. And then Sky not being able to figure out that they were talking about who Big Brother favours and basically coming up with every other word around favour, but not that. Let's be honest, we talk about this show not doing things for the kids at home that are watching it. This is a really good example of making sure that everyone that watches this show just winds up being a few IQ points dumber at the end of it.
well, when the whole thing going on with Sky and her favouritising, it was actually Dave who was pushing those buttons and having a bit of fun. So yeah, Dave, for somebody who gets bullied a bit, he's prone to stirring others
He can
up.
give it back.
Well, he can dish it out. So he's got it. Fair enough, he does take it as well. But he started that, and Lawson copped it on behalf of Dave.
My word, did he ever?
It was awesome.
Sky had a bit of a crack at everyone, though. She was just sort of sitting on the ground with a whole bunch of people sitting on the couch, just basically pot-shotting everyone just because she could. And initially it sort of came across as her being a little bit, a little bit cranky because she was tired from the sleep deprivation of the task. But then, after it had all happened, she sort of snapped straight out of it. And I suspect that there was a certain amount of strategy involved in what she did there, personally.
Yeah, but can I just say something? It takes a lot of brains to be a bitch. She's proving she is not as dumb as what she thinks she is. How she wants us to think about her.
No, I think the boys there threw her off her game. I think she revealed a little bit of her true self, and then she had a big sook about how it was all Lawson's fault and how he gets her and he's evil and all that stuff. He gets to her and everything like that. And really, Lawson didn't bring it on. She brought it on herself. She had to find somebody to blame and slip back into tearful Sky mode about how the poor boys, the boys are picking on the poor little her. And to me, that was just like she let her guard down, revealed stuff she knew people wouldn't like seeing at home, and then had to try to get back into character again.
And I had to laugh when Lawson said, go have a chocolate bar.
And she also has a habit as well of whenever she does have a moment where she slips and sort of lets that other side of her out, she always goes back and sort of blames it on the fact that she's not smart.
Yeah,
she
that's
can't
exactly
articulate
right.
an argument well enough to get out of it without doing that, that she snaps because she's not intelligent enough. So it's a pretty soft excuse, even if it is true, which I'm sort of leaning towards thinking that it's not. I think she's certainly playing the game to a certain degree. To clarify that, I don't think she's a neurosurgeon, but I don't think she's nearly as dumb as she tries to come across either.
It's an act.
Oh, she's just lovely and she's kind to everybody and she's really interesting. I love Sky.
And she's really street smart.
Yeah. Hashtag.
Dirty stripper.
The other one this week, and we have a fairly strong disagreement about who is in the wrong here, ODN. Probably for the first time in a while. We usually do agree this season, but Priya had a massive blow-up with Dave. It's not going to take my defence. Priya had a massive blow-up in the pool with Dave. Started off because Trav was talking about how Priya had cost them a life and said that she fell asleep after she'd been given a coffee. She sort of shot back fairly and said actually it was a hot chocolate, which, as I said just before, she probably shouldn't have drunk in the first place, you idiot. And then Dave said, this is Priya, she always gets defensive, and the boys started chanting, and Priya took exception to that and basically said that the boys were ganging up on her and got all school teacher and grabbed Dave aside. And I feel really bad for Dave. Dave seems to be the only person in that house that when someone has a disagreement with him, they actually drag him somewhere so that they're one-on-one, sit him down across the table and sit there and just throttle him with whatever he's done. No one else gets treated that way. It's just Dave. So Priya did that with Dave, and then Dave sort of said, yeah, look, fair enough. I sort of can see why that upset you. I don't necessarily agree with everything you've said, but I didn't mean to offend you. Let's go and grab the rest of the boys and you can pull your principal act on them as well. And everyone went and sat around and listened to Priya talk at them for the better part of 20 minutes about how it was rude and they were being a big boys club. And Richard stood up for himself and said, I don't really agree with you. Didn't mean to offend you, but I don't think that you're right on this occasion. That was my take on it, and I know that you had a slightly different take on it, Adrian.
Oh, look, I do think I didn't find anything defensive about her correcting the fact that it wasn't a coffee because, it did make it sound a little bit stupid for who falls asleep while they're drinking coffee. But I have no problem with that, and I do think Dave was being a little bit. It was a little bit, maybe grade 11, get the boys together and taunt somebody.
He was showing off.
He was showing off. He was acting pretty smug and doing little, and he did say something about women want to tear into you, just sort of let them go, kind of roll the eyes, kind of thing, do a bit of a smirk, and that was a bit that was a little bit sexist as well. So he's got to be taken to task, even if has been the victim of a lot of these bullying episodes at times, he showed signs of him being able to do the same thing to others. I do agree with you. Priya pulling them aside for the 20-minute lecture was her treating them like they're her school students, and that's not on. And I do, and you're right. Dave does seem to get on the end of those, but I think it's a little bit because Dave is a little bit intellectual, and they do think that he is actually able to sit down and have a mature discussion without reacting too much. And you'd probably rather sit down and have a chat to Dave if you're upset with him rather than walk away and call him a weak human or something like Aish would do, because she wouldn't be able to get through to Lawson any other way.
So a weak human.
Yeah, exactly. So, maybe sitting down and lecturing Dave is a sign of respect to his intelligence. I don't know. But, it was a bit of a storm in the teacup, and the boys were being a little bit juvenile. And I do get that these guys were only new in the house. Priya, as far as she's concerned, they don't know anything bad about her yet. So for Dave to actually announce what he considers a character flaw in her to the others to get their backing might have felt a little bit humiliating.
I can agree with you on that, but to be fair, that's not what she said she had a problem with. She never brought that up. So if that was the issue, then I'd probably think that it was okay, but she never said that.
Yeah, but Lisa did. Lisa said she didn't have a problem with him not liking her boobs either, but that's really what it was about.
True.
Okay. Normally this time of week I'd say let's move on to nominations. I won't this week because everybody is up.
Everybody gets a shot to go home this week.
Oh, except for the new Borsome Foursome. They'll be in for another week. I say Borsome, but I don't really mean La Luna. She's pretty good.
Luau.
Luau.
My boy on the boards, New South Wales Crow, quick little shout out, has a very interesting fan theory on this one, and basically that Channel 9 and Endemol are chucking all their eggs in one basket, and this is the opportunity to make a bit of a cull and to also set the cat amongst the pigeons and set the favourites now. So the people that, with everyone up this week, basically the chaff's going to get sorted out. There's not the opportunity to vote out the weak or the strong necessarily, but this is going to set it up for the run towards the final and make sure that your favourites are in and everyone knows that they need to get voted for. So it was an interesting theory, and I tend to jump on board with it. I liked it from old Crow.
Yeah, exactly.
So we know it's going to be at least a double eviction this week.
Yeah, it might be a triple.
I'm even thinking possibly a triple. There's a lot of housemates still there and not much time left. But assuming it's a double, who do we think's going?
Cat. Lawson.
There's some interesting voting last week because who was the second least saved? Was that Priya?
Yeah, I think it was Priya.
Yeah, it was Priya.
And above her was Leo and then Cat, I think. So, interesting.
I don't see Priya having a particularly. Well, Priya's had a bad week, so I don't think she's going to get a lot of votes. I could see her going this week, which I guess would be a bit of a favourite. She was sort of seemed to be a bit of a front runner at first, so that would be a bit of a surprise. The other one that I could potentially see going this week is that little baby Aish.
Aish, yeah.
She's
Really? Why would you say that?
I think she's slipped into the background a bit. She sort of doesn't really have a lot of airtime for stuff about her. Everything this week that she's been involved in has actually been as a cause of someone else. She was on screen a bit when Travis and Marina had their weird thing, but that was because of Travis and Marina. She was on screen when Sky had her blow up at Lawson, but that was because Sky was on screen and she was just consoling her. She's not doing a lot on her own, and when she is, it's not very likable. So I actually think it's a bit of a smoky, but if we're saying it's a double this week, I think Priya and Aish.
Wow. Mrs. Odian, who's
It
going
could
home?
be a quadruple.
Pick two. Who's going home?
I just said that. Cat and Lawson.
Cat and Lawson.
Clawson. Could see Cat going. She's been pretty boring.
We haven't seen Lawson up since it's really broken loose, have we? So this is a pretty good test. There's quite a lot of interest in this week's evictions. I would probably Priya and Leo maybe. Shell.
I'll go Leo and Cat.
Leo and Cat. Alrighty.
Really spreading the love around this week, aren't we?
We are. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Any other square pegs that haven't fit into the round hole this week that you want to get off your chest?
No.
The python.
Python.
The what?
What is that?
The
Well-
random python that showed up, that was weird.
What python?
The snake that was yawning against the glass when they were in the,
The snake.
comfort
The
room.
snake was tired. He wanted to go to sleep.
Oh, that's the snake that came into the house last year.
You think it's the same one?
Yeah, they've kept it as a pet.
You sure it's not just a random one from the bush? A lot of bush around the house. Around.
Someone posted on BigFooty that it actually got removed and yada
Well,
yada yada. I don't know.
Well, they do have reptiles there at Dreamworld as well, so they'd have wildlife experts and snake removers everywhere in the area. So, yeah, I'd say it's.
Would Bindi have come in and saved the day?
Oh, she's
Maybe.
Tim would have freaked out if he was still in the house.
wrong coast for Bindi, but she's I'd say it's probably just a. There was no other reason for it. It had to be an intruder. Surely it's just one that's popped in and the cameras that
Well,
pick up.
he's more interesting than any of the four combined, so I say keep the python.
Yeah,
It was a
Keep
dull week
Monty.
this week.
Keep Monty in.
Keep Monty the python.
Yep.
I loved watching Dave. Dave's tried to go a bit alpha male this week because he's got a mad crush on Volva. He's just following around like a sad little puppy dog, and he was talking up his soccer skills when she came out wearing a soccer shirt for the first time,
Yeah.
which led to them getting a soccer ball.
Yeah.
And me saying the word soccer probably
is
more
probably
times than I've
gone
said
by
in my
now.
life.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd have to be. They always boot those things over the fence in about 3 seconds flat.
Yeah.
So watching Dave just sort of peacocking a fair bit this week was quite funny actually. I really enjoyed that, and it's interesting to see Dave is in a different light. He hasn't been a loved up little schoolboy for
No,
a
and
while.
he shaved
so-
his goatee off again.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's a bit of a soccer player, and Dave was trying to impress Lemon Lime and Bitters with his take on soccer skills.
It's not bad. That one wasn't bad at all. And Priya just straight up hating that there were intruders. She's obviously one of the more sort of tactical players within the game, thinking it through and thinking about how she's going to win. The idea of the intruders coming in or the four next door, she absolutely despised it right from the get-go. Even Sky and Travis and those sort of people that we know are there purely to win and do want to win, the second that there was even talk of them coming in, Priya was like, I don't like it. I don't want to get to know them. Everyone else sort of embraced them to a certain degree, and she just didn't want a bar of it.
Some people just don't like change.
Yeah, and I suspect she's one of them. And then the other quick one, which was quite amusing, is all four of the new housemates got put in a spot and had to tell a funny story. And the two highlights for me were Richard is a cousin kisser.
Mm-hmm.
That's super creepy, mate. You don't tell people you just met that. You
No.
probably don't really tell anyone that, to be honest, if it has happened.
Yeah.
And Penny got bit by a wombat in one of the most bizarre stories anyone has ever heard.
Weird.
Yes, Penny's a little bit bizarre in so many ways. So, but she grabs a mean ass, and we can't really hate her for that.
She does know how to take a handful, that's for sure.
Yeah. Before we go, we're just going to do a little bit of a rundown of comments of the week. First, we'll start with the BigFooty Boards comment of the week. Shell.
Yeah, sure. I've got a few here. First from Vast, who's always a good contributor. In replying to Coxie, who said, "Who cares about Cat's sister?" when we had Cat's sister up on the stage there, Vast said Lawson's married brother. So I thought that was a pretty apt answer to that.
Good one.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I did. I like that one. I had a gift from New South Wales Crows, who's probably the most enthusiastic poster, I reckon, on the board there. The gif of Penny in the ice bath, and it's then followed by a shot of I'll have what she's having from When Harry Met Sally.
Crow. My
I thought
personal
that was
favourite poster. I'm going to throw that out there. I love Uncle Crow.
And Phantom, didn't you have some from Mark Kay?
I did have a couple from Mark Kay. He had a cracking week, actually. It was a toss-up between Vast and Mark Kay for comment of the week. There was a response from someone saying, who is voting for Kat? Then she must have a rich family. And Mark Kay responded, Ashley Madison users, which was absolutely brilliant. Ashley Madison is a website for people that want to cheat on their partners, just in case you don't know. Give it a quick plug. AshleyMadison.com, not bookmarked. He also had Shell threw it out there and said, what was Harry Potter's story? And Mark Kay's response was, Dumbledore was a communist prick who was a secret agent for the Iron Curtain, which actually had me in tears. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and that was brilliant from him. And it's worth giving a quick shout out as well to our very own superstar on the podcast, Shell, who just put out there on a very, very dull week.
I'm going red again.
Surely Clausen are somewhere in the house. Show that, please.
Yeah. No, and I agree wholeheartedly with those sentiments.
And the other one that I had for New South Wales Crow, he had a meme of the Atlanta Falcons coach, and it was basically in response to some comments that were coming through supporting Shell. And it's a good one because if you're an NFL fan, the Falcons are 2-6 in the AFC South at the moment with one of the best offenses of all time. And you can tell that it really is that frustrating to have to read some of the comments that we're getting to.
Mm.
We had some crackers from the housemates as well this week. Dave, in response to Sky saying that one of the girls was more than meets the eye, Dave saying, what is she, a transformer? Dave also had a comment saying, don't know if Travis had a plot to lose when Big Brother asked him if Travis was losing the plot.
Yeah.
And obviously the winner for the housemate, the comment of the week, had to be Sky, throwing it out there to Lawson saying, name one person I've been nasty to, and Sky saying, your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well done,
Good
Captain
Sky.
Obvious. In the middle of being a pathetic.
I think it'd be fair to say that we probably had more fun on the boards this week than we did watching Big Brother.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll keep each other entertained if the housemates won't do it.
Keep it
But
up, hopefully.
even if Big Brother's not on next year, we'll probably still have a thread.
Good chance. Just make up our own one.
Fantasy Big Brother.
Oh yes, hey, we could do a fantasy podcast and just make up the stuff that's happening.
God, that'd be amazing.
All right, we'll leave it there, everybody. Say goodbye, Mrs. ODN. She's already left us, folks. She's in the background. Good night, Phantom.
Night, guys. Thanks again.
And good night, Shell.
Good night. Thank you.
I love you.
Bye. Enjoy the Melbourne Cup, guys.
Will do. All right. Melbourne Cup, what's that? We'll be working.
Oh, we get a day off.
We don't
That's
get
what
that
happens.
till December.
Yeah, we don't. We don't get the Melbourne Cup till December.
Is that because you don't have daylight savings? So
That'll
you're
be-
like 3 months behind.
That'll be the 2009 Melbourne Cup this December. Anyway, until next week, folks. Keep voting or don't, whatever turns you on. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.